let's talk a little bit about using content in your sequences in your outbound itself. How do you decide how to use content, when to use content? How should BDRs be working with their marketing teams to understand what resources they have available and thinking about how they should use this stuff?
Yeah, I think um, on the outbound side, you want to be able to share relevant thought leadership content. I think a lot of sales enablement content like that can be like you open it up and it's like, oh, like how do you attribute content to revenue, uh, with or something like that. Like we'll say that's the blog name. And then you open it up and it's like, oh, with Letterdrop, like that's how you do it. And I don't think that's how you should approach things. I think you want to actually share content that's helpful first to establish credibility and trust because everybody knows that like you're getting an email from me, like I'm trying to sell you. Like people know what's up. Uh, and I think like you need to be sharing thought leadership content, not just like product content. Um, but there's a time and place for things like product content. Like people ask, like, send me more information on this. Oh, that's interesting. How does that work? So product content is helpful there when prospects have legitimate questions about like what you do, how you help, or like case studies can be helpful there as well. But I think if I'm reaching out to a prospect where they haven't replied at all yet, I want to share things that establish credibility for me that shows that I'm educated on their problems, I understand them, and we've helped others that are like them. So I think that's where thought leadership plays in. I also think it's content can be super helpful for nurturing prospects. The strategy that we use is we'll put someone in a short, quick hitting sequence, trying to hit them with relevant messaging. If they reply, great. If they don't, what we're going to do is have a task at the end of that sequence to put them in a nurture sequence where every couple of weeks they'll receive a new piece of content that we're putting out just so we stay top of mind. And then after 2 to 3 months of that, we resequence them with another short, quick hitting sequence. And they're not just like, oh, like Ryan's just reaching out to me every quarter or something like that. Like they're continuously getting helpful content. And when you do that, it one keeps you top of mind, and two shows that like you can just share content without an ask, like, and they'll read it, be like, hey, like this is actually really helpful, and then it gets your foot in the door because then they say, okay, Letterdrop understands what I do on the day to day. They understand the KPI that I'm trying to move, and they've helped others do it before. Um, so that's really, really helpful. In the in-cycle deals that I'm working on the SMB side, sharing relevant resources can help progress them. And I think anytime you reach out to somebody that's in a sales cycle, you want to be adding some sort of value. Like good sellers aren't never just check in, right? And I think if you have really good sales enablement content, that is very helpful. Like something like our LinkedIn SaaS playbook. That is like a genuinely helpful resource that I'm sharing in pretty much every sales cycle that I have because people find it genuinely helpful and it's something you can follow whether you use Letterdrop or not. And if you can educate during the sales cycle, I think it helps progress deals as well. And then I think on the flip side for outbound, like you're sharing all this content, right? You have all these people looking at content. You're sharing it in outbound. You're sharing it in sales cycles. You actually want to be able to know like who's engaging with it and who isn't. And that helps us identify hand raisers, and that's something that again, like we get to dog food, Letterdrop, and it's helpful for me. Is I guess like the worst thing that would happen if you're a content marketer is you create all these assets and like people are looking at them and sales doesn't do anything with it. Like that would be a disaster. And that's what we don't want to happen.